Kristi Noem is ready to shut down FEMA. I'll explain why that's actually a good thing. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Part of it is because Kristi Noem is doing such a great rock star of a job.
Sure. Is the press going to be respectful of this event, this horrible event, this horrible tragedy? Please, yes, go ahead, please.
Marissa Atmas here with CBS News Texas. Several families we've heard from are obviously upset because they say that those warnings, those alerts didn't go out in time, and they also say that people could have been saved. What do you say to those families?
Well, I think everyone did an incredible job under the circumstances. This was, I guess Kristi said, a 1 in 500, 1 in 1,000 years, and I just have admiration for the job that everybody did. There was just admiration. Only a bad person would ask a question like that, to be honest with you. I don't know who you are, but only a very evil person would ask a question like that. I think this has been heroism. This has been incredible, really, the job you've all done. It's easy to sit back and say, oh, what could have happened here or there, you know. Maybe we could have done something differently. This was a thing that has never happened before. And nobody's ever seen anything. I've never seen anything like this. I've gone to some real bad ones. I've never seen anything like this. So I admire you, and I consider you heroes and heroine, and I think you've done an amazing job. Brian, go ahead.
And there's a big controversy to shut down FEMA, another government organization that is not doing its job well. Here she is on C-SPAN today.
That best respond to their communities, and we be a support that comes in and comes alongside them when they need us. Federal emergency management should be state and locally led rather than how it has operated for decades. It has been slow to respond. At the federal level, it's even been slower to get the resources to Americans in crisis, and that is why this entire agency needs to be eliminated as it exists today and remade into a responsive agency. We owe it to all the American people to deliver the most efficient and the most effective disaster response. In fact, some of how we've responded to Texas.
So it's not because, and that clip just cuts off there, but it's not because we're against federal help in emergencies and disasters. We prefer local, and FEMA itself is very slow and bloated. If you're a slow emergency response organization, you're killing people. You can't be slow. Now I'm going to this post, which is this is just kind of a shot against FEMA having a really bad day. Look at this picture. They look like FEMA packages being delivered by good guys, right? Look at this. Dozens of packages of fentanyl disguised as FEMA packages were seized at a Canadian border crossing in Alaska. The vehicle was driven by Canadian, quote unquote, refugees from Rwanda claiming to be headed to North Carolina to help with the storm, which is what drew red flags. Quote, that just didn't make sense. So we did a full inspection. We still don't know where they got the FEMA boxes. Maybe FEMA's been doing a lot of trafficking. One thing is clear, the Canadians still aren't doing enough to keep that poison out of our country. And this could trigger another tariff on, higher tariff rates on Canada. Now, here's Kristi Noem in the meanwhile saying that after the Maui fires under the Biden FEMA, 1 in 6 survivors had to trade sexual favors for basic supplies this is an outrage. FEMA. Now it's a pro-prostitution unit, where people, they held back aid unless they offered up sex. This is in America, guys. This is in Hawaii.
And then after the wildfires in Maui, residents voiced concerns that every FEMA employee that they spoke with had different answers. None of them had conversations that resulted in getting assistance that was helpful or any clarity in their situations. The situation in Lahaina was so bad that 1 in 6 survivors were forced to trade sexual favors, other favors for just basic supplies. At the same time, illegal aliens were staying in luxury hotels using FEMA dollars. The Roosevelt Hotel is the one you're probably the most familiar with in New York City. They got to stay there for free on the taxpayer dime through this FEMA agency. Most of those rooms cost over $300 a night. In 2024, when Hurricane Helene devastated the Southeast, FEMA's disaster relief fund was unable to provide the necessary relief because millions of dollars had been diverted to housing and transportation for illegal aliens. Now, FEMA was supposed to show up, and yet residents reported that they saw no FEMA personnel on the ground or applying for aid on their behalf. They instead had to rely on local volunteers. Right after Helene, Hurricane Milton also hit the Southeast. It was revealed that FEMA officials in Florida ordered relief workers to skip houses that had certain campaign signs.
Trump signs, they were told to skip houses that had Trump signs in front of them. This kind of reminds me of also of the flood recently in Texas, where they were saying those people deserved it if they voted for Trump. They deserve to lose their children in a flood, and that FEMA wouldn't come and help them.
That had President Trump's name on them. And the workers responsible for that horrific act of discrimination have been fired. Politics has no place in disaster relief, and it won't in the future under our watch and under President Trump's watch. The American people deserve better, and they deserve better, especially in times of disaster.
And because this is a channel, we cover politics. To me, that's the biggest thing is this is removing the politicization of our government. The government under Biden was run. Benefits and goodies go to Democrats, and punishment and scandal go to Republicans. That's how they ran it. They politicized every department. They politicized our court system. That is, they're politicizing justice itself. And that's what's ending under the Trump administration, and especially under Kristi Noem, who's doing great. Here's another one of her over on Fox. This is from yesterday. We remain laser focused on our work with advisor Governor Abbott. Here she's going to say some nice things about FEMA, that they were working with them a little bit in Texas.
Being there to allow the state to run the emergency response, but we come in and support it is incredibly important.
On that point, CNN is basically got a report accusing you of slowing the process. Would you like to respond to that?
Well, there you go. Fake news. CNN, again, is absolutely trash what they are doing by saying that, because our Coast Guard, our Border Patrol, BORTAC teams were there immediately. Every single thing I was on, they asked for, we were there. The governor and the emergency management director, Nim Kidd, are fantastic. And nobody there has said anything about that they didn't get everything that they wanted immediately or that they needed. And I'm proud of the work that we've done to support that. But, we've got flooding going on in New Mexico as well, North Carolina. So I've been visiting with their leadership team and spent quite a bit of time on the phone yesterday with the New Mexico governor, getting them resources as well. And that's what we do. And, the fact that CNN is continuing to be political and push out fake information and false information and lies is not shocking, but it's a disservice to the country.
And it's common. Remember, Democrats politicize everything. They politicize FEMA. They politicize the emergency help, right? And then also when Democrats perform the news, they politicize the news. They literally politicize the truth. They politicize information. They demand all the information not go from the source directly to you. They have to run it through a screen that helps their side and harms the other side, is what they want. They run it through that screen. That's what this is about, is the flow of information. And in this case, the flow of disaster relief money. It should not be food goes to just Democrats and not to Republicans, or food goes to illegal aliens and housing goes to illegal aliens. And if you're in Hawaii and you're an American citizen, you get nothing. We have to remove the politicization of everything. You don't even want like Trump and Kash Patel and Bongino and Pam Bondi to go in and politicize the evidence with Epstein. I don't want Republican evidence. I want the truth to come out. And so be it, wherever it lands.
It's a real disservice to the country because people start to mistrust anything that comes out then over the news. And then, well, that's true. Yeah, but they just don't trust anybody anymore. And
yeah, the institutions have collapsed because the experts have lied to people for so long. And that also creates conspiracies, by the way. As people go like, I don't know who to trust. How about I don't trust anyone in the state? How about I don't trust anything that is told me that I don't prefer? It actually makes you not trust facts because they've lied so much and mixed fact with lies. Now, in case you're wondering, I do support this shutdown of FEMA. Kristi Noem didn't come up with it. This is old. Watch this. This one is Trump in February 11th of this year. Look what he calls for. He says FEMA spent tens of millions of dollars in Democrat areas disobeying orders, but left the people of North Carolina high and dry. It is now under review and investigation. The Biden-run FEMA has been a disaster. FEMA should be terminated. Guys, this isn't Kristi Noem. This is Trump. It has been slow and totally ineffective. Individual states should handle storms, et cetera, as they come. Big savings, far more efficient. And I just want to say Trump got his wish on that, but he saw it all the way back in February. Before we even reported on this, we missed this story went on by. And now the fulfillment of that promise through Kristi Noem shutting down FEMA. I'm dug in exile.